So today I would like to show you how to make this very, very nice chocolate ribbon and of course how to temper the cocoa butter. Let's go!
Oh, hello, Marcus here. So today it's about tempering cocoa butter. I look forward to this moment to tell you about tempering. Many of you guys asked me about, please make a video about tempering. Today is about cocoa butter only, because afterwards I will make a chocolate ribbon so you can see how to do that. Tempering cocoa butter, easy. Melt to 45 degree, cool it down to 27, heat it to 28, 29, 20, 30 degree, and then ready to go. And really, it is that simple. So to break it up in pieces, why do I need to melt to 45 degree? You need to melt your cocoa butter because you want to work with it. So if you have a stable cocoa butter, you're gonna work with it. So you need to melt it. And you need to melt all the crystals inside, the fat crystals. You need to go to 45 degree, maybe a little bit more than that. If you stay at 45 degree for about 2-3 minutes, you're safe. They're all melted. I'm 100% sure of that, because I have instruments which tell me that at my work. So it's actually lower than it. It's under 40 degree, most of the crystals are melted. So 45, you're safe. But it's also about how long you keep your cocoa butter at this temperature. If you only keep it there for 10 seconds, maybe you're not melting all the crystals inside the cocoa butter. So that's why some people temper even higher than that. But it's really not necessary. Go to 45 degree, keep it there for 30 seconds, 1 minute. All the crystals are zero. There's none of them left. Then you need to cool down to create crystals. And while you cool your cocoa butter down, you need to stir. And stirring inside your bowl or whatever you have creates shear. Shear is the friction between the thing you use to stir and the surface of the thing you keep your cocoa butter inside. So when you churn or when you stir, friction is made, and this friction is very important to make crystal seeds. If you don't have this friction, if you don't stir, you will not create crystal seeds. And if you don't stir, they will not be evenly distributed in the cocoa butter. They will be at one place and that on the outside, and then you have not tempered cocoa butter. So stirring, cool down to 27 degree. If you go lower than that, you're perfectly welcome to do that. It's no problem. You can go very low, but you know your cocoa butter will get colder and colder, thicker and thicker. You cannot work with it, and it will be over tempered. The crystal seeds inside, it will set very fast, and your melting temperatures will get far too high. So you won't like to create beta 5 crystals. Beta 5 crystals melt between 29.5 and 33.5 degree, and that's gives you that nice melting point inside your mouth. If it gets higher, it's not very pleasant to eat and feels like wax in your mouth. So that's why you create beta 5 crystals. Beta 4 crystals are below than that. They have a lower melting point, and that's why if you don't have a nice tempered chocolate and it melts in your fingers, it's because there are some beta 4 crystals inside. Or other undesired crystals, not right tempered or not enough tempered. If your chocolate not melts at all, you have over tempered your chocolate and you have beta 6 crystals inside. So beta 5 crystals is what you want. So when your cocoa butter is melted, 45 degree, cool it down, stirring creates shear, and then you have a tempered cocoa butter. If you want to use it right away, heat it a little bit to make it workable to 28 degree, and then you use it for the cavities. You know, if you might want to make chocolate bonbons, if you want to make a ribbon, use it right away, and it will set quite fast. I'm pretty sure of that. As colder as your cocoa butter gets, as faster it will set. So it's very easy. If you want to add gold powder, you can add it before you temper the chocolate. You can also do it after. But remember, if you do it after, you will cool your cocoa butter again, and you might have to reheat it. And a very good idea when you use gold powder, especially if you want to spray it, take a very, very fine sieve and sieve your cocoa butter. before using it. So that's so much about tempering cocoa butter. Melting to 45 degrees, cool it down to 27. Remember to stir all the time. When you hit 27, 26 degrees, reheat it to the with a hairdryer, for example, to 28, 29 degrees, and then you're ready to go. It's that easy. Next time will be tempering normal chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate. See you soon. So now you know how to temper cocoa butter. Here's some colored cocoa butter. It's melted already to 45 degrees, maybe a little bit warmer, and I add some gold powder. I don't really measure it, I just put it inside and mix it with a spoon. And then I will start tempering. This is for a chocolate ribbon, so I will not sieve it. So, how to temper colored cocoa butter for spraying, or today I'm trying to make a ribbon. So, very easy. You melt it, 45 degrees, melt all the crystals in the chocolate or in the cocoa butter, cool it to 27 degrees, 26 degrees is also okay, and even 25 is okay, because then the crystal seeds start to be created in the cocoa butter, they start to form. And when you reach 27, 26 degrees, you need to heat the cocoa butter again to 28, which is the working temperature. So 45, 27, 28, use it and it will be perfectly tempered. So 27 right now, so I just need to reheat. I use this one, it's a normal hair dryer. So put it on hot, heat it, and then it's ready for using. So to make the shape of the ribbons, I have some plastic sheets. This one is especially for chocolate. It's a little bit more stiff than normal plastic sheets, but you use normal plastic sheets as well. I cut some stripes and I cut the ends off so they get the shape as you see. I think I used 8 or 9 of these, and I made some long stripes for the actually ribbon. You will see it later. So I put those stripes on a big piece of plastic to keep my table clean, and I just started to brush it on. And don't worry about it will set at some time. Let it set. It actually needs to set so you can apply some tempered chocolate on top of it. So don't worry about that. It's a very good idea that your room temperature is not too warm. I mean, if you have 20 to 22 degrees, will be perfect. Even colder, even more perfect. But I think my room temperature was about 25 and it worked. But if you go above that, you will get in trouble. The cocoa butter or your chocolate will have difficult time to set. It will take a long time. So just brush it on. A thin layer. It depends how much color you really want on there, and remember to do it one direction so you will create some nice stripes inside the ribbon. And because of the gold powder, you will even see those stripes more. So hold, brush. This is nice. Nice and even. So as you can see, nice stripes. And it already starts to set over here, see? After 1 minute already. So, nice tempering. So what are we tempering now is white chocolate, and many people say it's very difficult, but it really is not. So white chocolate melted to at least 45 degrees. You can go hotter, but not more than 50, but 45 is normal. All the crystals in the cocoa butter are totally melted. Then you add white chocolate until you reach
31 degree, I would say. So you just cool it down by melting more and more chocolate, like these chocolate buttons here. They are perfectly tempered, so there are crystal seeds inside from the cocoa butter, and those crystal seeds will melt. In the beginning you can use big pieces. They will melt very fast, and as the chocolate gets colder and colder, you need smaller and smaller seeds. So I blended them here. See, there are small white chocolate pieces. So you just need to slowly melt the chocolate until you reach, I would say 31 degree. 30 works also, but then you need to work fast because your chocolate will set very fast. When you reach 31 degree, you make a test with a palette knife or a spoon, and the chocolate should set after about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You should see it starts to set at room temperature. That means 25 degree, 20-25 degree. If it's warmer, then it's very difficult to temper. So yeah, so use a thermometer, this one, digital, put it inside. Remember, it's also very important that you melt the crystals, and it is 45 degree at least. If the chocolate only reaches 40 degree and you start tempering, the result will not be good. So 45 degree, cool it down to 31 by adding chocolate seeds, and remember to stir. This movement is called, it's not called, but creates shear. Shear creates heat, creates friction, and creates crystals while it's cooling. So it's very important. That's what a tempering machine is doing. It's cooling, moving, and that gives shear. So those different aspects give you a nice tempered chocolate. So now it's 45. So I need to add a lot more chocolate. More chocolate.
So keep stirring while the chocolate melts, and take an eye on the temperature all the time. Now we're down to 38, we're still not quite there. So when the chocolates reach about 34 degrees, maybe 35 already, you still need to go lower, 3 degrees. So if you add too much chocolate, and I bet many of you people have experienced that, if you put too much chocolate, you will have a leftover of chocolate pieces inside the chocolate and it cannot melt. That is because you put too much inside. So and you know, beta 5 crystals, they melt at it's 30.5 degree. It starts there up to 33.5 degree. So of course you can't melt them anymore. So there will be leftover, and you will have an over-tempered chocolate. So if you don't want these big chocolate pieces, stop by adding more chocolate pieces, small chocolate pieces at 35 degrees, and use. You see, this piece is the tempered chocolate from last time I have. I will break it in big pieces. I will put a big piece inside and just keep stirring until I reach my desired temperature, which is 31, and you can just pick it up and take it out, and then you have well-tempered chocolate. I hope you understood this great idea. So before I made a mistake, I told you that the melting point of beta 5 crystals is at 33.5. It's between 29.5 and 33.5. So when your chocolate is like 33, like right now, and you add more chocolate pieces, you might have a problem with not all of them will melt. That's why I add one big piece of tempered chocolate. That will cool down your chocolate, and when you reach 31 degree, your chocolate will be perfectly tempered, and I can just take the big piece with my fingers, and then there will no chocolate pieces left. To already 33 degree. I put a big piece of chocolate in there. So now my chocolate is nice and melted. There's no lumps inside. So I'm just stirring and waiting for the chocolate to reach 31 degree. And then we'll make a
temper test. That means I will take a palette knife or a spoon, which is at room temperature. Don't put it in the fridge. And I will cover the back of the spoon and see how fast the chocolate will set. Now we're at 32 degrees. Close. I will pick up the chocolate. That's it. On a piece of plastic. Remember to work clean. Ah, it's 32 again. A little bit tricky. Put it back. It might be tempered, but I would like to have it a little bit colder. I want a nice tempering. Remember, don't whisk your chocolate. Just stir slowly. And if you, I have some Indian people. They're writing me that they are working at a temperature between 35 and 40 degrees. I mean, I'm sorry, even the best chocolatier in the world can temper chocolate at these temperatures. You need to have a cooler room, otherwise your chocolate will melt. It's far above chocolate's melting temperature. So you need a special chocolate. Some countries they have chocolates where they remove the cocoa butter, add something else, and then the melting temperature is above 35 degrees. Then you might can, but then most of the time you don't even need to temper because the fat is removed. So let me try. So I will take a palette knife, put a little bit of chocolate on there, tap it like this, and we just leave it here on the table. So I will just leave it put it on the table, and then we have a look in a couple of minutes. So let's have a look at the chocolate. So I had to wait like 4 minutes. See if there's a light so you can see the shine on here. Here you can see. And the chocolate starts to set. Because I work at 31 degree, it will set slower. So you have a little bit more time to work with it. So when I touch, you see it's firm and nice. So it's nicely tempered. If you reach 30 degree or 29, you need to work much faster. So now let's make the ribbon. So let's make the chocolate ribbon. So the tempered white chocolate, use a palette knife and put a little bit, distribute a little bit of chocolate on the tempered cocoa butter. Nice and even, not too thin, not too thick. Just make 2 at the time. If you make more, you will get very busy because you need to shape the ribbons while the chocolate still is flexible. If the chocolate gets too cold, you will have a difficult time to sticking it together. So just 2 at the time, I will recommend. Just a thin layer. Remember, if it's too thick, the ribbon will not be elegant and nice. Put it on, let it set for just a moment, take a little knife and then take it up and shape. So that's about now. So I need to find the beginning of the ribbon. That can be tricky. Here. Pull it up and put it together. No more than this. Right. So as you can see, I take the pieces with chocolate on when this chocolate just is about to set, and I will put the edges together just with my fingers very slow, just to stick it together, and that's it. I don't do anything else. I just leave them there. Later on, when all are shaped, I will put them in the fridge. Very nice. parts of the ribbon are formed like a drop and glued together, and this one will be a long ribbon just lying on top of the cake. So the whole ribbon will be presented on the top of a cake, so it will look like a present. So this one I will take off before it even sets, and I will just shape it on top of this spice glass of spices. So you'll get this round shape, and it will set like that. When all the pieces are done, you glue them together with tempered cocoa butter. Because it's red, then you will not see all the dots you make. So just glue them together. Nice. Put some cooling spray on there if you have. And I always have extra pieces. I told you I made about 9. If you need 6 or 8, make 10, because sometimes some of them will break. You see? That's at the top, which is going to be on my cake. The cake I will show in another videos, because it's a very big recipe and a lot of things to do. So here you will see how to put the ribbon on. This is the top of the ribbon. You see, I already put some of the ribbon on the cake, and it's just gluing them together. See, tempered cocoa butter, cooling spray, tempered cocoa butter, cooling spray. And now you can see why I cut the edges off. So remember to take off the plastic, because the ribbons are so shiny, you will not even see if there's plastic on anymore. Don't forget, I tried that once, and when I cut the cake, it was a big mess. Sorry about the filming. The person who filmed had a little bit problem to get around me, so I just tried to put the ribbon together. And there's a lot of drop-shaped ribbons on there, as you can see. Maybe even 11. There's a lot. You don't need to put that many. I just did it for the program. So I hope you like that. The look of that cake, and the full recipe of the cake will come soon. See you soon. Bye. And remember to subscribe.